Kia ora, my name is Nanette Woonton. I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Education and English Literature, and I currently work for the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Program, SPREP, as the Communications and Outreach Advisor. Oh my goodness, in so many ways. One of the best things, and I was told this before I went to study in Fiji, was that you walk away with a network across the Pacific Islands region. I work for an organisation which has 21 Pacific Island members across the whole region, and every country I go into, I have friends there, and these are friendships that were formed, I guess, so many years ago now, when I was a student at USP, and that has really helped make my job a lot easier. One of the things I've learned studying at USP is that the Pacific is a lot smaller, like it's a big family, and being a student at the USP helped me grow that family. That's where it all began. I think I was really blessed to go to the University of the South Pacific in Fiji. I learned so much about other Pacific Island cultures, Pacific Islands people and their ways, and that's really helped me in my career now, which spans the region. I know that wasn't intentional, it happened, but I was also told that that was one of the best things about going to USP. I have so many memories of being at USP. It's so funny when I come across other USP students in my job now, and I'm just automatically transported back to those days. I guess 30 years ago when you're young and carefree and not as many responsibilities as you have now. It's funny how no matter what position people have in this point across the region, it just transports you back to being USP students. I have so many memories, I think, because I was a student, I was based in the dorm. I learned how to cook everything in a rice cooker, which was not allowed. I guess all students go through that rite of passage where you learn to cook chicken and so forth in your rice cooker. One of my other best memories was we had a Cook Island Students Association, and that was there that we performed, and oddly enough we got paid quite a bit of money to perform around Fiji, which was interesting for so many of us who had never danced before. I think one of my best memories, however, is the friendships that we formed, not only with other students but also Cook Island students. There were so many of us that were taken there away from families and at USP, and we all formed really close bonds. And like our friends across the Pacific, you see them today and you're transported back to those times. I have to say one of my inspirations at the USP, and I don't think she's ever known this, is Professor Konai Thaman. She was, and as a poet, she was in Fiji at the time, and she was always very lovely and graceful and always had time for people, and she was also inspiring in that it was a Pacific Islands woman who had achieved so much. And I always admired her demeanour and the way she approached things and the way she was with other people. Professor Ron Crocombe, the late Professor Ron Crocombe, I thought he was wonderful. They had left by the time we had come into Fiji, but he would come and visit often. He always had time for the Cook Island students, and all students actually. And I was quite young then, and now that I think back, I think he always had time for us. I learned so much from him whenever he would come into the country. And even after I graduated, he always had time. And he always had very valuable advice that he passed on, and he was such a well-respected man, and it was such an honour that this professor found time to teach us stuff or say hello to us, and I think that was really wonderful. I really admired him and respected him, and I'm very grateful for that. So for current students, I would say if you don't get the good grades, or you may have failed 1 or 2 courses, don't feel knocked back. You can always pick yourself up and you can carry on. I think studying, if you're a young student or a new student, I think this teaches you how to deal with adversity in life, that things are not always going to go according to plan. However, you do have these challenges and you can do bigger and better. And I think you just need to trust in yourself and the Lord that you will succeed. I think don't feel that if you don't do as well and don't put so much pressure on yourself, you can overcome anything. Those are for current students. I would also say the whole having great time with planning and so forth, but we know how life goes. You can plan all you want. You might want to do this in an hour or so, but things happen. So I'd say just don't be too hard on yourself. You'll do wonderful no matter what. For new graduates, I would also say that it might sound a bit corny, but the world is your oyster. You might have dreams and aspirations and you might go down one path, but you realize that God has another path for you. I think resilience is one of the best qualities that you can build up for yourself, so that when you have these setbacks or when you have to readjust or reset, refocus, you can do so with very little impact. You can move forward and make the best of your next step in life. So I just want to wish all these new graduates the very best. I know you come out of university, if it was like me, a little bit of a loss, because my whole life I was going to school every day. From the moment I went to primary school all the way through, it never dawned on me not to go to university. All I knew was school. I just had to go to school. And once I finished school, I was like, what's going to happen now? And I wasn't really sure. So I think just as you find yourself even in those early stages, just be prepared for what may come and be resilient. Like students, I think you'll be wonderful at whatever you do. I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed my days at USP. I know once you've graduated, it's always hard to go back to school once you've entered the workforce, and it's hard to get back into school. So I have a lot of admiration for those that do go on and do their masters and so forth afterwards. I think that's wonderful, and I really like the University of the South Pacific because it taught me so much more than your traditional formal education. You learn so much out of that. I also think that studying at the USP it's like an incubator. It's the area in which you learn more about yourself, other people, and that it kind of just prepares you to go on and do bigger and better. So I'm grateful to the USP and my time at USP for that.